The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello and welcome friends once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog, where as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, in the next fortnight, all political roads are leading to Gujarat, the next big election battleground state. Kicking off the BJP's campaign in Gujarat, the Prime Minister said something, Narendra Modi ji, which has stuck in my mind. "Aa Gujarat main banavyu che," which literally translated from Gujarati would mean, "This Gujarat has been built by me." Now, some newspapers reported that the Prime Minister was taking full credit for the building of Gujarat, but actually what he was trying to suggest was that we, the people of Gujarat, have built this Gujarat. Actually, also, words like "I" and "we" are now interchangeable when it comes to Mr. Modi and his special relationship with the people of Gujarat. It's almost interchangeable because the Prime Minister's biggest political asset is his ability to completely identify himself with the people of his home state. I recall 2012 elections. Mr. Modi had just completed a hat-trick of victories in Gujarat, and Hareen Pathak, the veteran BJP Ahmedabad MP, came on my show and said, "Rajdeep bhai, Modi is Gujarat now and Gujarat is Modi." It almost brought back memories of Indira as India and India as Indira, 1970s Devkant Barua. The truth also is that since then, Mr. Modi has made this successful transition from Gandhinagar to 7 Lok Kalyan Marg in Delhi, and therefore the personality cult surrounding him has only grown manifold. He is Gujarat's Neta number one by some distance. I liken him to Amitabh Bachchan in Bollywood in the late 1970s. But here is the intriguing question I want to pose on Straight Bat. Are we saying, taking off from Mr. Modi's slogan for this election, "Aa Gujarat main banavyu che," that this modern or Naya Gujarat in a sense was only built after 2002 in the Modi era? Remember, this is a state that was carved out of the division of the old Bombay state way back in 1960. So should all credit for any achievements go only to the Modi era and Mr. Modi as his supporters would have us believe? Or were the foundations of a Naya Gujarat laid long before Mr. Modi took over? Take for example Mr. Chimanbhai Patel, a two-time chief minister and one of the towering figures of Gujarat politics for more than 2 decades. Someone who became a Congress chief minister first in the early 1970s and then returned as chief minister in 1990 as part of a Janata Dal Gujarat coalition government, first with the BJP and then with the Congress. Chimanbhai liked to see himself as a farmer leader and the foremost Patidar or Patel leader of his generation. Interestingly, Chimanbhai left or was forced out of the Congress in 1974 when he was removed from office over serious corruption charges as part of the Nav Nirman students movement of the time that eventually gave a fillip to the anti-emergency movement. Chimanbhai formed his own party then called the Kisan Mazdoor Lok Paksh and supported the Janata Morcha government that was formed in Gujarat in 1975, again just ahead of Indira Gandhi's emergency. It was this Janata experiment in Gujarat that would eventually be replicated at the national level with the formation of the Morarji Desai-led Janata Party government of 1977. Now, I met Chimanbhai first in 1990, which was the first Gujarat election I covered. I was then a reporter in the Times of India. Chimanbhai was a short, round-faced, bespectacled man, always dressed in white khadi kurta or mostly dressed in white khadi kurta pajama like most Gujarat politicians at the time. His critics called him Chiman Chor, accusing him of widespread corruption. But frankly, he was a true mass leader. I realized this when covering a Janta Darbar at his residence in Gandhinagar. He remembered the names of all the panchayat leaders who had gathered there to see him. He was a canny politician. How many leaders do you know of who managed to do deals with the BJP and the Congress and still emerged on top? This is exactly what Chimanbhai achieved in the early 1990s. Interestingly, it was Chimanbhai Patel who gave the world's second richest businessman, Gautam Adani, his first big break at the time by deciding to aggressively push for port privatization and allot the Mundra port to Gautam Bhai. It was in fact during the Chiman Bhai years that Gujarat saw a major drive for industrialization. He had an open door policy for industry for which Gujarat would greatly benefit in the later years. Gujarat in 92-93, friends, was already India's fifth richest state and with a per capita income well above the national average. By 2011-12, it was the third richest. Now, another far-sighted Gujarat chief minister in the pre-Modi era was Madhav Singh Solanki, who still has the distinction of winning a Gujarat election by a record margin, 149 out of 182 seats in 1985. Now, most political observers will remember Solanki as the architect of Gujarat's original Mandalite experiment of social engineering. Solanki's Kham Alliance, as it was called, Kshatriya, Harijan, Adivasi and Muslim, that was at the heart of his political success at the time. But I actually remember Madhav Singh ji for another reason. Of all the politicians I have met, Mr. Solanki had one of the best libraries kept by any Neta. That's right, he lost his job as External Affairs Minister in 1992 in the Narasimha Rao government over the Bofors scandal. Solanki had gone in February 92 to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos, and there he handed over a note to his Swiss counterpart where he reportedly said that Bofors had not achieved, deal had produced no results. This was an entirely politically motivated controversy. So he, in a sense, became the fall guy, and I met Solanki ji at his Delhi home in 1994 when he was still a member of parliament. He was sitting in this lovely book-lined house and he had a wonderful collection of all of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar's works. I told him about my interest in reading more on Babasaheb, and his response was interesting. Rajdeep Bhai, I don't loan anyone my books, but you are welcome to come home and read them. So guess what? Over many cups of sweet Gujarati chai, I would often go to Solanki ji's house and read from his wonderful library. Another interesting pre-Modi chief minister is Keshubhai Patel, the first BJP chief minister of Gujarat. Keshubhai, by the time he became chief minister, was aging, a rather rotund figure, struggling to walk because he had bad knees. He would invite you to his home in Gandhinagar, and there he would be sitting on his jhula, the traditional Gujarati swing, tucking into Gujarati farsan. Keshubhai loved his food, but his doctor had advised him against eating sweets. Now, once someone brought jalebi to the BJP office in Ahmedabad as the party was celebrating an election victory. Everyone in the room was gorging on the jalebi. Shankar Singh Waghela, Suresh Mehta, Kashiram Rana, all the BJP leaders of the time. Mr. Modi was actually in the corridor, not there in the so-called main room at the time. I could see that Keshubhai was struggling to restrain himself from having those jalebis. Finally, when he couldn't resist, he popped one jalebi into his mouth and told me later, Gujarat mein muh meetha to karna padta hai. While Keshubhai had a relatively short tenure spread over 2 terms, he too made a great effort, or every effort some would say, to again give a boost to Gujarat's industrialization, especially the port expansion. In fact, Gujarat's status as a business hub, and in particular a petroleum refining hub, is a product of the 80s and 90s, when far-sighted leaders and efficient bureaucrats combined to make Gujarat an economically vibrant state. The Hazira complex plan was in fact devised during Madhav Singh's ji's tenure. He was travelling with Mrs. Gandhi on a chopper, Indira Gandhi, on a chopper to the Ambaji Mandir, the revered Ambaji Mandir, in the early 1980s. Mrs. Gandhi was apparently in a good mood, and sensing this, Mr. Solanki and his bureaucrats quickly prepared a blueprint for the Hazira gas processing complex that Mrs. Gandhi then quickly agreed to get cleared. Likewise, it is the remarkable efforts of a genius like Dr. Varghese Kurian, the driving force of Amul, that created Gujarat's milk cooperative revolution in the 1960s and 70s that completely changed the economics of central Gujarat in particular. I wonder sometimes, why don't we ever hear of Dr. Kurian as a maker of modern Gujarat? It's a question I often ask myself today. Someone who perhaps should get a Bharat Ratna. Again, the late Dr. Kurian couldn't have done all of this on his own. Early Gujarat chief ministers, Balwant Rai Mehta, Hitendra Desai, Ghanshyam Oza, all of them were very committed to the cooperative movement at the grassroots. It is on these strong foundations, my friends, that the Gujarat economic model is built. One which Mr. Modi, to his credit, took forward during the 12 years that he was in office, with his focus on urban infrastructure, power reform and rural irrigation through the Narmada project. There is also, of course, the Hindutva political model that really got sharpened in the Modi years post 2002, a model that ensured political stability and dominance of the BJP, but also heightened social divisions on the ground. We can talk about this contentious political model in a future episode perhaps, but for now all one can really say is that when Prime Minister Modi says, we built this Gujarat, or all of us together have done it, he is right and wrong. Right, that the Modi era has undoubtedly contributed to Gujarat's growth engine, but wrong if he is suggesting that before him, Gujarat was some kind of an economic backwater and no one else had made a similar effort to build a vibrant Gujarat. As a postscript, let me tell you that in 2007, ahead of the Gujarat elections, we had done a poll at IBN 7, the Hindi news channel I was editor of at the time, and we polled asking people who is their most admired living Gujarati. The winner, my friends, was not Narendra Modi, but actually was the Ambani family. Dhirubhai had passed away and therefore the baton had been passed to a certain Mukesh Ambani. As they will tell you in Gujarat, even more important than who is winning the elections is which stock is the winner in the markets. Gujarat's business is business. Rajniti matters, but dhando or business matters even more. Think about it. That was the straight bat. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar.